Audio Animatronics by McKenzie Bogert. If you've ever heard the words audio animatronic, you most likely think of the Walt Disney Company, and that is because Walt Disney was the first person to create a 3D figure that can move and speak. We're going to have the main points of this presentation are the beginnings, moving through time, and then a conclusion. So the definition of an audio animatronic is a being or consisting of a lifelike electromechanical figure of a person or animal that has synchronized movement and sound. The Imagineers started 2 different projects, but they never finished them, and then the first completed animatronic was Abraham Lincoln. According to the website, the Walt Disney Family Museum, it said that in the summer of 1949, Walt Disney took his wife Lillian and daughters Diane and Sharon on a holiday to Europe. The family visited England, Ireland, Switzerland, and France. One afternoon in Paris, Walt ventured out on his own and did some shopping. He returned to the hotel with 2 large bags filled with a variety of wind-up toys. He unpackaged every one of them, wound them up, and studied them. Walt said it's amazing that you can get such interesting movement from a very simple mechanism. And by studying these toys, it gave him the inspiration for the audio animatronics. So the first true audio animatronic technology was used for the birds in the Enchanted Tiki Room at Disneyland, which opened in 1963. The Imagineers had devised a system to control the actions by means of magnetic recording tape and a solenoid coil. The signals recorded on the tape triggered the solenoid coils inside the figures, producing action. And by 1964, the first fully animated human figure had debuted at the New York World's Fair. That figure was Abraham Lincoln, and it incorporated 57 moves, including 22 different head movements. But the work had been painstaking and involving animator Walt Rogers being rigged up with a harness-like device and his every movement captured and recorded. Along with this, work was also underway on a General Electric sponsored attraction featuring an entire cast of audio animatronic figures, designed to illustrate the American family's progress throughout the 20th century via the magic of electricity. The show, which featured a theater rotating around a stationary stage, opened as Progress Land. Walt referred to it as the Carousel Theater of Progress. The first picture shown is the first functioning audio animatronic, the toucan for Disneyland's The Enchanted Tiki Room. In the second picture is the first fully functioning human animatronic of Abraham Lincoln, and this is on display in One Man's Dream in Disney's Hollywood Studios. In the third picture is Walt Disney with an Imagineer on the set of Carousel of Progress, using the control harness for programming the actions and gestures for the audio animatronic figures. So now we're going to move through time for different accomplishments throughout the decades between the first animatronic to what they look like today and how the technology has become more advanced as the years move by. The Digital Animation Control System, or DAX, came into being in 1969, making use of the now rapidly developing computer technology. DAX involves the movements being recorded onto computer disk, which animators then use to manipulate the figure's movements via a console. DAX involves the movements being recorded onto computer disk, which animators then use to manipulate the figure's movements via a console. Using the system, the animators are able to adjust or delete actions at the touch of a button. DAX technology has moved on a long way since then, and a more sophisticated version is now used to control all of the audio animatronic figures we see at the parks today. All of the audio animatronic figures in Epcot and Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World are controlled from a system composed of multiple DACs from a single remote location in the Magic Kingdom. So in 1989, they saw the first A100 audio animatronic figure in the form of the Wicked Witch of Oz at Disney's Hollywood Studios, the Great Movie Ride. The A100 figure enables movements and gestures that the figure makes to be more realistic than ever before, and it takes around 8 hours to animate just 1 second of movement. Meeko was the first portable, all-electric audio animatronic figure and made his debut in 2002 in Animal Kingdom's Pocahontas and Her Forest Friends show. Here are some pictures of these animatronics. So the first picture is Figment in Epcot on Journey into Imagination, and this is one of just the general animatronics that uses the DAX system. And then the second picture is the Wicked Witch on the Great Movie Ride. And then the third picture is Miko, who was the first portable audio animatronic show in the show Pocahontas and Her Forest Friends. 2004 saw a huge step forward with Lucky the Dinosaur, the world's first free-roaming audio animatronic figure. Lucky made his debut at Disney's California Adventure Park and was able to roam around, interacting with guests. This technology continued to evolve with the appearance of the Muppet Mobile Lab at Epcot, which saw a much smaller version of the free-roaming audio animatronic characters that were not only able to move around, but they could also converse with each other as well as with the guests. These days, audio animatronic figures can be found in many Disney rides and shows, including an A100 Captain Jack Sparrow in the Pirates of the Caribbean attraction, an 18-foot-tall Yeti in Animal Kingdom's Expedition Everest, and the most complex, an A100 figure to date in the form of Stitch at Magic Kingdom in Stitch's Great Escape. So here's some pictures. The first is Lucky the Dinosaur. He was the first free-roaming audio animatronic figure. The second picture right below is Captain Jack Sparrow, the animatronic of him with Johnny Depp. And you can see how lifelike he is. And then the 18-foot-tall Yeti on Expedition Everest. And then the last picture is Stitch, who was the most complex audio animatronic to date in today's technology. So in conclusion, we looked at how audio animatronics began and what Walt's dream was for this new technology. I do believe that a lot of the things we know and love in most theme parks around the world wouldn't be the same without this technology that was developed all those years ago. I don't know about all of you, but for me, I am so glad that Walt Disney created this technology for all of us to enjoy.